I'm going to show you a parts car that I picked up. This is my 335xi. I've been having a couple weird electrical issues with it, mostly the airbag system, and I'm afraid to spend $450 on an airbag that never deployed that it's throwing a check engine light code for. So I picked this car up for $460. This is a BMW 335xi manual 6-speed. What I really love about this car is I really like this color. I've never seen this color before. It's like a really dark blue. And I even got the title for this car, surprisingly. There's a cylinder head in the trunk. They robbed the transmission and used the transmission to do a 6-speed all-wheel drive swap, supposedly in an E30. And the engine's gone, and a cylinder head was in the trunk for an N54. It looks like it's still good, so if anybody needs that, I wouldn't mind trying to sell it to get some of my money back. And I'll just show you some of the things going on with this car. The door trim's gone. One of the mirrors is just removed. Well, I guess technically I think they used a mirror on it and then put another mirror back in it. I really like the carbon fiber trim, even though it's just a wrap. I thought that looked really good in this car. These are the sport seats, but they're not heated. What's unique about these are a little bit different than my seats. My seats have like a stitching like right across there. They kind of look like a different leather and possibly more comfortable. These parts are gone. I actually do have this piece, and maybe the shifter might be in here. I'm not sure. For the most part, the interior is all here. It's just kind of laying everywhere. So my goal for this, I just want to try and piece the interior back together, even though there's nothing, like no motor or whatever, but that could all be redone if I wanted to. See, all the pedals are gone. You know, some of the electronics look like they may have been removed. I guess those are just for the lights or something. See, my car, it like never had this right here, the diagnostic cover. So I wouldn't mind having that. I could piece my car back together with a couple of those small pieces mine never had. There's a couple tools that were left behind in here. I think this is it's a wheel lock tool. And there's actually a couple wheel lock lugs that were in here too. I'm going to try to leave this car as much together as possible, but I need to take the airbag out of this and put it in mine and see if it fixes it. But before I do that, I'm going to connect the computer in this car and see what kind of codes it has to see if the airbag system's even good or not. So here's the back. That trim piece is actually in the back. The headrests, I wonder if, oh yeah, they're just sitting right there. So I could just piece those back together. I'd rather just put the thing back together as much as possible, because it might be a decent rolling chassis. Main thing that's missing is that airbag right there. I'm guessing that cup holder's just gone. I actually had a video on how to fix that without having to replace it. Of course, somebody just decided to remove it to replace theirs that was bad, most likely. But they are fixable if you have a broken one. Of course, now I don't have a core that I can fix. Speaker cover's gone. That one's still there. That door panel's looking like it's in pretty good shape. The window regulators were robbed out of the back half, and that piece right there is destroyed, but those are really easy to replace, and they're not really that expensive if I wanted to replace that. I do like that it has all tinted windows. I saw that there was a receipt in the car for where they paid for the tinted windows. Clear coat is peeling on the roof and on the hood. I thought about, well, one of the reasons why I bought this car was because I wanted a hood for mine, because mine has rust holes right there. This car is like basically rust free from what I could tell. Engine, transmission, drive shafts all gone. This was not a wrecked car or anything, but you know, the front's gone. If I could get a wrecked car where I could rob the body pieces off of it, I could start piecing that part back together. These pieces that are missing there, they're just sitting in the trunk. The computer is actually in the trunk too. So I'm going to plug the computer back up and put the engine wiring harness back in and try to see if what kind of codes this thing throws. Looks like the air conditioning or the heater core or something that was connected there is just gone. I'm not really sure what's supposed to be there. There's probably a lot of miscellaneous pieces missing that I may not really think about that's not there. Like the front wheel well's gone. That one's gone too. But there are a lot of good pieces still. Like some of the small pieces that I had to buy in the past because mine fell off or got ripped off is like the sensors for the RDC system. I've had to replace those. So this car actually has the sensors for the front. They took them out and then they just threw them they're in the floorboard here. So, I mean, those could cost me like $40. It's probably what I paid for those to get replacement ones. I was just buying them used. There's an RDC that sits under the like it's a antenna that sits under the driver's seat. That I bought a replacement for. That was like $100. So just having a parts car where I can take these parts off is going to save me a lot of money potentially if these parts are still good. So here's a look at this side. There's a lot of pieces to the cylinder head in here. The rocker arms, and there's a throttle body there. I need to go through this and throw a bunch of stuff away. The power steering pump is sitting in the trunk. All the trim pieces at the bottom were removed. These were actually painted. I think that looks pretty good the way they did that. There's a Kane Brown CD. I don't know what that is. Some kind of coolant line. I think that goes to the coolant reservoir. Here's the trunk. You can see what's going on in here. Here's the original window sticker that the cars come with. I'm kind of surprised it's still in the car. So that was the original sale price of the vehicle. And here's all the options listed. So it had the sport package. It did not have... Oh, there's the color right there. The Monaco Blue Metallic. So it did not have the heated seats, so the cold winter package. It didn't have that. I don't like the wood trim. Let's see. I thought, oh yeah, all these included ones, those aren't extra options. And then you have a couple options there that you could pay for. The USB adapter or something. I didn't even realize that was an extra option. And the satellite radio. I didn't know about that one either. Got the original book here, or, you know, this container here. And all the original BMW tools are here too, underneath here. That's one thing that my car didn't have, the original tools. It has the tow hook, which you need to, if you're gonna ever suspend the motor to do the turbos. The engine wiring harness is back here, so, and the computer is back here too. It really stinks back here because something's been pooping a lot back here. So I gotta vacuum it out. Like there's random stuff. Like you see this right here. That is your part that mounts to the oil pan where the drive shaft, or you can call it the passenger side axle, runs through the oil pan to go to the differential. I don't know why that would have been left behind. It's very unusual if they would have did an all-wheel drive swap with the engine in an E30, why some of these pieces are laying here, like the cylinder head. I believe that head is good. I can't really see any reason why it wouldn't be. But anyway, I'll probably list that for sale. I'll take a good close look at it. Some of the interior pieces are back here, and then those pieces right there, those are for underneath the car for the exhaust system and stuff. This is the part that goes for your cabin filters. So I got the key and the title for this thing too. So I do have another motor that I can put in this, so I'll show it to you. This is a 7.3 Power Stroke motor that I could try to fit in there that I got at auction for 175 bucks. The turbo is bad on it, so I think the engine, Or, well, I think the transmission is probably good. That's the turbo that was bad. It's like locked up, I think. The engine's locked up because somebody left it out in the rain. So it's probably going to need a rebuild. But I thought about trying to get some measurements off this thing, see if I could fit it in there. Of course, you know it's pretty heavy. That's like one of the heaviest motors I've ever worked on. Hey, Turb. For the time being, this car is simply going to be something to diagnose my airbag issue so I can get that fixed. I also have a key issue where my car is not reading the key when I press the buttons on it. So that I have tried really hard to track down the problem with that. I've changed the aerial diversity antenna, and that didn't fix it. I checked power to the aerial diversity antenna, and that shows that it has power, but for some reason I'm not getting connection for the key to remotely open the car. So the antenna for this car, for the remote, sits right underneath, well, it's like right underneath the fin there, but it's not in the fin. It's actually underneath the headliner. The fin is like, or the shark fin thing is actually the antenna for the radio, I think. There's that piece, this one, and then the one you don't see, which is underneath the headliner. It's like a little box thing. That piece connects to the window, and your antenna reads off of this grid right here for the key. So when I tracked everything down, it seems like the only thing I can't test or haven't been able to test is the connection from the antenna to the window grid, which I think, well, the reason why I haven't been able to test that is because this third brake light is in the way, and I'm not sure how to remove that. So I need to try and figure that out so I can check to see if we actually have a continuity between the antenna and the grid here. Would be my next way to try and figure out how to test and figure out why my key's not working.